This is for the free thinkers, the curious beings that swim upstream, who see possibilities, not problems, that learn from the past, live by the present, and create the future. This is the I Love Ugly audio show.
Welcome to the I Love Ugly audio show. My name is Valentin Ozich, creative director and founder of I Love Ugly. On this episode, I sit down with New Zealand entrepreneur Robett Hollis. For those that are unfamiliar with Robett's work, he's an ex-professional national champion snowboarder, a multi-exit entrepreneur, author, Fortune 100 content consultant, a global speaker, and was named as one of the top 3 most influential New Zealanders on LinkedIn. After exiting his portfolio of companies, Robett's new mission is to inspire more people and help destroy New Zealand's tall poppy syndrome, which I like. In 2018, he helped launch the $50 million initiative to help more growing companies win in business. In this episode, I go deep and discuss how and why he got into business, what it takes to become a successful entrepreneur, why failure is important, and a few tips, tricks, and routine that he uses to help himself get on the path for success. Like all my guests, I go deep and extract as much value as I can. Enjoy the episode.
Giddy up.
Okay, Robett, how do you pronounce your name, bro?
Robett.
Robett. Where's that from?
My grandparents, Ron and Betty.
Interesting.
Grandfather Ron, grandma Betty, combo it together, Robett.
Yeah, nice. I haven't met a Robett before.
Yeah.
But you probably haven't met a Valentin before, right?
No, not without the E.
Nice, man. So
It's
mutual.
good to finally be able to actually meet. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I found your work, and as I said, a few of the guys around the office have been kind of pestering me to get in touch. So glad we're here, bro. I know you're a busy guy. I've seen all your YouTube clips. It's like non-stop, man.
I like to be productive.
Yeah.
If I'm not creating, I feel like I'm dying.
Yeah, so you feel you're a creative more so than a businessman? Or
Yeah,
you
business is a byproduct of creation.
Interesting.
I mean, sure, you'd probably, don't know if you feel the same, but I feel I like to create, and business is the byproduct.
Yeah. Do you feel that the fact, I don't know too much about your background in terms of how astute you are in terms of business, like numbers and all that stuff, but did you ever feel at some point in time that could have been, that was almost like your Achilles heel in terms of how you could progress as a businessman / creative businessman?
Yeah, I am not good with numbers.
Yeah.
I'm not good with spreadsheets, not good with details, not good with process, not good with systems.
Yeah.
So pretty much I'm not built for probably a lot of the modern day workplace.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess my skill set with things that I either think or I operate, I know I'm a flipping weapon at, but it's taken me a long time to finally get to the point to delegate all the shit I suck at.
Yeah. And then do you do that in-house as well? Do you have those people in-house? Or?
Yeah, now it team's close.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think now after, I guess, a few wins and losses or whatever, it's a filter of, have I known you before and do you actually get me? Which is different than just like, oh, he's good at that or she's good at that job.
Yeah.
It's a different, so I guess my filter now with engagement with others is definitely predicated on a few different variables.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. And then I think also having that personal connection as well and actually understanding who you are and what you want to do, I think is also super important rather than just hiring based off talent. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'd heard it a little bit ago and I keep popping around. It says that hire for attitude, train for skill. And I believe it's accurate because the people bring energy and energy can stuff a business and stuff creativity real quick.
Yeah.
So I would rather have an A player heart with a B player skill, but the energy I know is going to be positive because you will always work your way to that point.
Definitely.
Opposed to this person ticks the boxes to do this, and just because you plug that in, the formula should work.
Yeah.
Because if I'm already rolling differently and I'm I guess energy based opposed to I guess common sense based in a lot of ways, I'd always rather be surrounded by positive people with positive thinking.
Yeah.
Than not. So.
Oh man, I 100% agree. That's something I've really shifted in the last 12 months is actually hiring first and foremost based off of mindset, because a determined mindset can learn the skills which they lack. And I think, and I've also been stung on the opposite side where I hired purely off skills and someone with experience, and it was the same thing. Negative energy and a huge hindrance. I felt like I was lifting this load of negative energy because of this person's pessimism, and I think a bit of pessimism is good, but man, I'd rather have optimism all day.
But it's dangerous, right? Because from a leadership perspective, if you hire those that are just drinking the Kool-Aid,
Yeah.
then all you're going to get is just the positive blah. And
Yeah.
you believe your own hype and bullshit, and then you
Totally,
just get steamrolled from the market.
Yeah.
The other side is you've got the exact position, the skill set I need for this to be successful.
Yeah.
I'll pull you in, but then you don't understand the culture, so you
Yeah.
also stuff. So I think it's self-awareness from a leadership perspective to understand, to filter of like, are you saying this with pessimism because you care, or because you don't actually see the future of what could be?
Yeah.
And that's a tough line, right?
Definitely.
And I think if you're going through stuff, and I've got a close friend who's going through a very similar thing, is he's the leader of the engine, hired the machine that thought should take him to it, but all their mindset is stuck with how it was done, not how it could be. And so they come in with a pretty set of framework, which actually is ending up being a detriment to that business,
Yeah.
which is causing frustration between the founder / owner
Yeah.
to it. So yeah, I think it's that balance off of good leadership, of understanding, are they hating you with love?
Absolutely, like
Instead
a
of,
parent.
are they hating you? Yeah.
Like a parent, right? Discipline you with love,
Yeah.
tough love. Nah, definitely, man. Just to kind of just wind it back a little bit, because otherwise
We just went straight in.
We went straight in, definitely.
Straight for the kill shot.
I don't bullshit, and no, you don't, so we just get in the thick of it. But just to kind of take it back a bit, obviously when we do the intro, we'll give people a bit of context about who you are and your achievements and this and that. But just taking it back, man, so obviously you've started and sold a couple of businesses, but prior to that, you were a professional snowboarder for a bit. That's right. And then, so you started at 11, and then you became pro at 18, and then you started traveling the world snowboarding, and then you got into business. That's quite a big transition, and I can see, I assume that along the way you probably learned a lot, and you probably grew up a lot quicker than most 18-year-olds. But why the transition from pro snowboarder into business, and then how did that benefit your business career?
It is a funky journey going from sport to business, but it's also ridiculously similar in terms of mindset with how you approach it.
Yeah,
I agree. I've seen extremely similar traits with ex-military / SAS,
yeah,
and elite sports people, and executives. There's a thread, and I don't know if it's about focus or determination or perspective or drive or passion or purpose. There seems to be something in the DNA between those types of people, and I had that with sport. So I was super quick nutshell for the recap. Yeah, my whānau's from Ngāti Porou, small little place called Waipiro Bay. Grew up on a farm in Dargaville till I was 4, Fiji till I was 9. And then back in Aranui, Christchurch. So the company Aranui Ventures is from where I'm from. And I'd always been just really hard out into sport. So when I was 11, I was playing for the New Zealand Under-14 basketball team, Canterbury hockey. I got into soccer, played for soccer for New Zealand, played basketball for New Zealand, skated. I used to work at Cheap Skates, and I was like full, like bladed and all sorts, got like third at nationals, like fully into it, that whole world. But then snowboarding kind of got me out, so I transitioned to snowboarding. Snowboarding kind of got me out of the hood, got me out of where I was from. And my whole game plan was use my skill set as my escape, leverage my contacts to start businesses, and then so I could have a platform, not just be paid as a person. And so there's a saying, and I talk about it in my keynotes. It's Jay-Z. He goes, "I ain't a business man. I'm a business man." And it's epic for me because I was a hip hop kid. I was like, Dre and Jordan were my two kind of big things. But that line is epic because the meaning of that line, I ain't a business man, I'm a business man, is I ain't a businessman, individual, one-to-one, unscalable time. I'm a business man. Platform, brand, legacy. Totally shifted my thinking. So my whole game plan when I transitioned out was I wanted to leverage my contacts, my Rolodex, my ecosystem, my skill set around content into business, so my business could grow while personally I would not fade out, but I didn't want to be 30 years old jumping off a flipping cliff to pay rent.
Yeah.
So mentally I'd already trained, and then basically I just used my skill set, started that, and then the rest roll out from there.
Yeah, amazing, man. So how old are you now?
34.
And then you probably see a lot of people that didn't make the transition, and you just see them slowly dying.
when I was 20 and I decided to do it, I saw dial-up to broad. This is 2004, 5. I knew that we're going from dial-up to broadband internet. I knew, because I'd always been really into tech, and I was hacking computers and programming and coding and doing all that shit when I was younger, swapping out hard drives, building computers, PCs, that whole thing. I knew that when you had broadband, you'd have the ability to have photos that would download faster, and then there'd be communities that would exist around different verticals of passion. So mine was snowboarding. So I predicted that. I told my two good mates about it, and they both said I was nuts and stupid. I knew that when I fast forward 5 years, all these people gave me shit. Like everyone was, flipping Robett's trying to be the business guy and this and that. Like, he's not coming partying or doing this or whatever.
Yeah.
All in my head was like, when I'm 25, you might have blown ACLs and I'm going to have business. When your contract runs up, you're stuffed and I'm going to have... Not that it was like a me versus them thing, but they totally didn't see the long game. So I always... that's why I love chess, and I think about things differently with like long game moves.
Totally.
I was playing chess from so early on.
Yeah.
The main one for me was I could see it play out. So at the start, no one took me seriously. It took me 5 years for people to realize I wasn't pissing around. And by that stage, all of a sudden, I'm getting paid by 20, 30 different brands, and those guys that were giving me shit.
Totally.
So that was quite tough, because if I was being truly honest, I actually felt a lot of not hate, but pent up jealousy potentially from some other people that didn't see it early enough to transition or evolve.
Yeah.
I took all the flack up front, but the long tail was so much more like better that it was worth that short-term flack, if that makes sense.
Totally.
And a lot of people can't see that, because I guess they want to be cool in the moment, not try to build something great.
Yeah, and it's hard, right? And I think for a 20-year-old to have that foresight is it's impressive. For me, I was kind of fucking around with my life, and I became an unexpected dad at 22.
Damn.
So that was my reason to start thinking about the future. But I think a lot of people don't, and I think that's why we do see these patterns where people get depressed and they're stuck in the rat race and they're in jobs they hate, although we live in a day and age now where anybody has the ability to drop what they're doing and transition. Obviously, we're bogged down with mortgages and kids and this and that, but I think end of the day, it's still no excuse. Look at what is his name, Colonel Sanders at 65. He kind of did it. There's countless examples of that. But I think having that foresight early, like do you think people are born with it, or do you think people can learn it, or if people, or what's some other answers where people can kind of discover it, especially from an early age?
Yeah, I think you can learn new skills, but you can't change what's in your blood, right? So I have this question I ask, which is, do you have entrepreneurial tendencies or entrepreneurial tendons? Like, is it in your flipping blood that it's in your bone and DNA that you won't stop until you create and do and craft and build and all that other shit? Or is it like, man, I'm going to do a startup, wear a hoodie, and it's going to be mean, I'm quitting this corporate shit, I'm going to do it? It's a different mindset. It's a mindset of, I've got up at 5 o'clock this morning, done damage, it's now 10 at night, and I'm energized. I wake up and it's like, I gotta do this work shit. So there's a different mindset around how you approach what you do.
For sure.
And I think when you're a builder, instead of, not that you're part of that ecosystem, but if you're a builder or a doer, do you proactively build or you just reactively do? Those who build always, I think, have a different way that they think about the energy and the why, opposed to chasing the veil of what they feel it is to be cool to try and do that thing. So, and if you're really, really honest about it with a lot of people, and you ask that thing, is, if you were to look yourself really hard in the mirror, do you have entrepreneurial tendencies or entrepreneurial tendons? Like, when it gets tough, and it's a pretty simple thing. So I'm very black and white. It's binary. Yes, no, black, white, done.
Yeah.
And when you ask yourself that question, it makes you sort of reset a little bit with how you approach it.
For sure, man. Very interesting. And people with entrepreneurial tendons, it's in their blood. They've seen their dads do it, uncles do it, whatever. There's still an element of courage as well, and a lot of these people actually don't have the balls, right? And you got people with the tendencies that maybe have the balls. And it's just like,
Then what happens is then you get loud people that don't know what's up, drinking their own Kool-Aid because they're verbalizing it externally that shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
But they do it almost by default because they think just because they're allowed they can do it. Then you have those internal entrepreneurs, let's just say, that would be weapons but don't have the bravery.
Yeah, totally.
So you've almost got like dumb loud people.
Yeah.
And really smart, quiet people.
Yeah.
In those type of environments. Like there are some smart, loud people.
Yeah.
I'm definitely loud, hopefully smart, but there are so many smart people I know who would be weapons.
Yeah.
But they don't have the bravery.
Yeah, totally. And bravery is almost a form of, that's almost a form of intelligence as well, right? Because you're backing yourself, you trust yourself, you can kind of like almost calculate if something goes wrong, how you're going to fall on your feet, you know, make changes, this and that. But it's, it is interesting because I'm the same, you know, I always felt I was like the dumbest guy in the room. And then, and then I kind of came out, and then by the time I was 26, 27 years old, you know, I had a multi-million-dollar business, started from scratch, and I still felt that if I went back to uni, I'd still probably fail English. And that was just like courage, backing myself, and then also figuring out what I was lacking, and then had this relentless hunger to figure out the answers to make it happen. Yeah,
but that drive with you, it's very, very clear that you're not blinded by the number, you're driven by the passion of creation, right?
Totally.
The other shit's byproduct.
Yeah, totally. But I'm saying that I'm human and I still get struck with fear. Recently you would have heard of the whole coronavirus in China. It's the first time in probably 2 years where I haven't slept from stress of the business. So there's a coronavirus. Have you heard about it? Yeah, and like, because it's basically huge delays for our factories. They can't go back to work legally because they don't have thermometers and enough face masks. And it's fucking stressful. And then I'm like, and then you start to get in that kind of hole. And this is all the stuff that I preach and teach, but it's actually hard to apply when you're actually in the thick of it. So it's actually gave me far more empathy for people that are going through the thick of it. But anyway, you're going, you know, you get struck by adversity, and there's some stuff that you get struck with is completely out of your control, and then you start to be like, fuck, you start to question almost everything, what you're doing, why you're doing it, why do I have to take the difficult route, this and that, which is a real test of character. I don't really know where I'm going with that, but it's just kind of like a thought that popped up based on what you're saying.
Well, what it pops up in my head is the irony that sometimes when you're brave to do, you're not self-aware enough to know that sometimes you still can get stuck in your own hypocrisy of what you're talking about to what you're doing.
Totally.
I got caught with that last year.
Yeah.
So I got this. So I got the Local Hero New Zealander of the Year award, right?
Nice, man.
I didn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
I didn't put online, put nothing. I was like, I did not, people have asked me to go to these awards and everything, and I'm just like, nope.
Yeah.
I don't do what I do for any of that shit. I'm not applying for anything. And basically I won this thing, and I still didn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
And then I got tagged in it because finally, obviously, the news came out, blah, blah, and one of my mates saw it and was just like, this is so mean, blah, blah. And then I thought about myself, I was like, man, I'm not a hero, I'm a flipping hypocrite. Here I am, like, preaching, you know, it's rad to win, and it's rad to be successful, like, feel free, do you. Yeah. And then here I am, I flipping won this really important, cool thing, and I'm not telling anyone about it. It's pretty shit, right? And so it was a really, like, kind of funky...
Yeah.
It stuffed me up about it. Like, damn, I was like, shit, I'm like doing the exact thing I'm telling other people not to do.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
so it's weird, right? You kind of get in this
up.
Spaghetti of thoughts, and you almost got to catch yourself or pinch yourself, and sometimes it's best to kind of just get out of the thick of it, get your breath, and then, kind of get back into it.
Bro, I get it.
Nah, for sure, bro. Man, interesting. So, I read somewhere as well that you're on a mission to destroy tall poppy syndrome in New Zealand. And I think I don't know if you know Israel Adesanya Stylebender. He had that award when he had that award last week, and did a speech about how it's actually it's bad. It's bad, and it's a bad thing in New Zealand culture. How it's kind of exactly like that. You probably didn't do it. The reason you probably didn't do it is because you were struck by that whole tall poppy syndrome. You know, you felt like you didn't want to actually go out there and proudly tell people about this significant credential which you won. Because you've got, you know, there's going to be all those naysayers and haters that are going to talk shit behind your back. But firstly, my question is, why is tall poppy syndrome, why do you think it's so prominent in New Zealand? And then also, how do you just kind of get over and above that and just cut that poppy down?
Yeah, it's super tough, right? Like I'd come through my journey and I guess popped out the other end. Mm-hmm. Good. Like not like I follow what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I love what I'm doing. Like, you know, I've been able to live a life where I've been doing cool shit that I'm stoked on. I then was thinking about all of the Kiwis that don't try those things and don't do that stuff. And I started thinking about the idea of a life regrettage percentage. Of a question that got asked me. They said, what's your biggest regret? And then I said, you know, I wanted to have options at 30. I think I could have got there faster at 27 if I would have been more proactive to listen and get better partnerships earlier, not thinking I had too much ego to think that I could do everything by myself.
Totally.
And so then I was like, well, actually, I could have got there at 27. So at 30 years old, I have a life regrettage percentage of 10% because I lost 3 years. But I'd rather be 30 years old with a life regrettage percentage of 10%, which I could make back up over the next 7 years, than be 50, doing something I've hated for 25 years, having a life regrettage percentage of 50, and now I'm stuffed at 50 because it's a lot tougher to build that back.
Yeah.
And so then I was thinking about where does this all come from? How does this happen? It stuffed me up a bit. And then I also kept thinking about, I was the young buck kid that should have gone a different path. You know, like bad stuff happened when I was younger, fine, whatever. Everyone has the same type of story, drama shit. But how do you create, I didn't have a pillar of beacon of hope or positivity that was around me that existed in business or whatever. So I think about breadcrumbs. And my idea about breadcrumbs was, how could I create a whole range of these positive little snippets that can be available to others, that they can consume to show them that there is a different way, or it is possible to do this thing, or it is available. And so I literally was thinking, what can I do to create a shit ton of breadcrumbs for as many young people as possible? So the kid that I think about is this kid called Rangi from Rotorua. He's 15 years old.
Yep.
He's at high school, he's right on that tipping point. Does he go to, did a video about it, does he go to the mall and steal with his mates? Does he go to the flipping skate park and smoke weed? Does he just go steal from some shops? What does he do?
Yeah.
How could you create little breadcrumbs of positivity for him to see that there's more outside of just that bubble?
Yeah.
Because I didn't have shit. I didn't have that.
Yeah.
All I knew was I had to become a professional snowboarder so I could escape and get over where I was from in the situation that I was in. And that was it. It was deal one or deal one. But I was lucky to get through it. So the tall poppy thing literally was me thinking, what can I proactively do to create as many breadcrumbs as possible? So I was like, I think an impact that I could have is like, how for tall poppy to die, that means it needs to get executed. But first people need to be educated around it, but first they need to have awareness of it. So all I want to do is, how do I start the conversation to make it that there is an awareness issue around it? Like I felt that there was a huge success, there was an awareness issue around success in New Zealand. There are so many flipping weapons that roll around that the average Kiwi doesn't know about.
For sure.
Pisses me off, right?
Yeah.
So basically I've got frustration with our lack of awareness, and then we've got this thing. I was like, okay, I think now I'm not saying I'm going to destroy that and I'm going to be the savior. I was like, stuff that. I know that I can create flipping 100,000 breadcrumbs to have people to make it know that it's a thing, to then have the conversation to get awareness, to then get educated, and then they can go execute against that. So I kind of saw it as, this isn't like me on this campaign. It's no, let's reverse engineer it. Actions and how you behavior from actions from education from awareness. So let's do that. And that's how it started. So in one hit, basically, exited both businesses, did a free ebook for 800,000 students to tell, I guess, my story. It's a free ebook.
Yep.
We did a nationwide tour. Literally drove from Kaitaia all the way down to the Bluff, from Te went to a whole bunch of kind of low socioeconomic schools. Then my next play was like, let's do a Yes to Success video campaign. Got like 100 different Kiwis on 100 days to do like 1 minute video saying yes to success, flipping mean. And then the next play, which eventually finally going to be helping kick off this year, is how could you then help self-employ some youth. So for me, I've seen it as a way longer journey, but to the point, back to Israel, with what you talked about, is now he's just amplifying that awareness piece, which everyone knew flipping existed.
For sure.
And it's for those that had seen my stuff already, it validated what they felt I'd been saying. For
sure.
For those that hadn't, are now aware. So it's like that's next wave. So I may have been one of the first waves to hit. He's just the second wave. But then now, it comes the third of like, well, how do you educate about it and then create execution. So
Yeah. Well, we're talking about it right now, right?
totally.
Yeah.
You know, sorry for the rant, but that's the journey of how I've kind of crafted it, because
Yeah.
then I play chess. That's why I got my chess, and I flipping love chess. I've just worked back
Yeah.
the moves to get to that point.
Yeah.
And I know that while I've got, you know, quotes, I call it temporary relevance. I'm temporarily relevant. Great. How do I just create a shit ton of breadcrumbs? So plant those seeds, and then when I piss off into the wilderness, or whatever I decide to do next,
Yeah.
at least I've started a snowball.
Yeah. Interesting. So what's some examples of his breadcrumbs? So you got the ebook, you got the talks. What's obviously those is for a lot of people that probably seems like quite unattainable. But what's some
But it's not though.
Yeah, for some people though.
But it's not though.
Yeah, I know it's not. You're an anomaly
No,
as
but
well.
I'm speaking for them because I was that kid.
Yeah, definitely.
And so that's exactly the thing. And so that's why that's why this thing is super powerful.
Yeah.
I realized really early on with this, when I started creating content, was content scales context. Content enables you to consume without you in the flipping room.
Yeah.
To know exactly what you're thinking, how you're feeling, what you're rolling, what you're about, the ethos, everything. That scales that. It can get to 1 million people. So I've used content and the media game and my skill set within media as flipping ninja, samurai, assassin shit.
Yeah.
Like 100%, because I can't have 1 million coffees one-to-one to say, hey, Rangi from Rotorua, here you go. And like, I've got a young family and I've traveled around to a bunch of shit. I can't get to them.
Totally. How many kids you got?
Two, a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Awesome.
And my priority after I did that shit was for the last year and a bit, I've been off the flipping grid.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been doing fam shit.
Yeah, totally, man. It does change. I got 3 kids, so I understand as well. But it definitely changes the dynamic, and it's just like the amount of time that you do have to dedicate it. That stuff has to be potent, you know. And oh, what's that?
You totally get it.
Yeah, totally, man. Definitely. No, that's real fascinating, man. And then so just kind of going back, just switching it back again. So people describe you as no bullshit, straight up, do the work, shut your mouth. Yeah. So how do you?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Trust me, that's probably extremely nice. I'm sure I've been called way, way worse.
Yeah. I reckon it's fantastic. But you know, that whole kind of no bullshit, straight up, do the work. Obviously, that's going to get you a lot of cut through, right?
Knock shit out.
Knock shit out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where does this energy come from?
For me, I've been thinking about this a bit. That's why I stopped, because it's always been in me to create, to do, to go. I'll rewind back a bit and I'll give you context of it, because I lost my dad when I was 15.
Yeah.
Right, and I've been wondering if I'm so gnarly now with just go, because I think about these things, and I've been asking myself only in the last little bit, and then I answer the question of, am I so gnarly, and I keep going, and I keep creating, I keep doing, I keep building, I'm a flipping just relentless virus of kind of positivity or whatever I'm creating. Have I done that because my dad is not here, and he's never going to say I'm proud of you? Like, it's some deep shit, right? But I think about this of like, I could be homeless and a piece of shit, and my mum's always going to love me.
Of course, it's a problem.
Because it's your flipping mum, right?
It's a problem with mums.
But if I was 18 and I say I did my first present at 20 and I exit whatever, if he was still here and he said, Robett, I'm so proud of you, like, would I have stopped and gone, nah, I'm actually flipping later bolt.
Yeah.
And the answer that because I wondered about that stuff, and the reality is I was like, nah. You know, I was walking at 9 months old. I was hustling, starting businesses when I was 4. My first business was 5 years old.
Yeah.
When I was in Fiji, I got told off. I did. You know, I was negotiating deals with flipping my principal at 6.
Yeah.
I'm that kid. You know,
Yeah.
I was a kid at doing paper runs, bullshit, whatever. At 11 years old, I was, you know, breaking into golf courses at night time, jumping into the lake, stealing the golf balls, coming back the next day, selling that shit. I was the kid that's never smoked a cigarette in my life, still never smoked, never done any drugs, never smoked anything, I've been clean of everything. But I had a full like rolly mafia of selling cigarettes as a flipping full distribution network when I was at high school and I'd never smoked.
Yeah.
Like I was just hustle fest from day one. So I've always been creation. Like I remember, I'd go to a buddy's house who had a color printer.
Yeah.
I'd print out friends posters, go back to print them at his house and go to school and sell them for like $2 each to put on the underside of the desks and stuff. Like I was that guy. So the reality was it's in my tendons.
It's in your tendons,
It's
absolutely.
in my flipping tendons.
Definitely. And do you think that people can learn hunger?
I think that people, when they know they have a backup, are mentally weaker.
Yeah. So what do you mean by that?
Let's say we're sitting here now, we're 20 years old,
Yeah.
and we're going to start our first business.
Yeah.
And you have come from absolute gutter, nothing, zero cash, eated toast, noodles, and bullshit. Educated school, hated you, and you're stuffed. Yeah. I came from private schools, millionaire parents, black credit card, trust fund baby bullshit.
Yeah.
And we say we're going to go into this business.
Yeah.
We both drink the Kool-Aid and we come into it. You're coming from hustle world of the bottom, and I'm coming from
Lucky
whatever.
Sperm Club.
Yep. Lucky Sperm Club. I've never heard that. It's flipping genius. I've come from Lucky Sperm Club.
Yeah.
And then we get into it. And
Yeah.
the Kool-Aid wears off and drama starts hitting the flipping door. And we need to knock out a 10-hour night today and we need to flipping do damage till 2.
Yeah.
And then I'm about like, oh, fuck, I'm a bit tired, bro. And you're like, no, we got to knock this shit out because you don't have plan A. But I know I'm safe.
Yeah, you've got the warm bed and
I got the warm bed I'm going home to. You're going to go flipping sleep in a flat of 12 other dudes.
Yeah.
You know, and I lived in a flat with 13 people once. You know, it's my world. How do you think that headspace is different? I'm going into it knowing I'm safe and good. You're going into it, it's like you have to create or die.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a different mindset. So when I mean by weaker, now I'm not to say that people that have great things don't work hard and whatever. It's like, no. But I know that if I'm up against you head to head, and if I come from Lucky Sperm Club and you're going to do damage till 2 a.m. every single night, every single day, forever, you win.
Definitely. Yeah, your chances just increase. Right.
You win.
It's what Elon Musk says is like if most people do a 40-hour week and you do 80-hour week, you're going to do more in 6 months than they'll do in 12 months. Yeah. But it's it's real interesting, because you do see at the same time as well, I see people that for some reason they just whether it is a fluke and then behind closed doors they are assassins and you just don't really see it. Some people can, because the thing is like hunger as well. It's just like some people can burn the midnight oil. They can do the meetings. They can fly on a plane and go to this place and that place, and it also looks super productive, but it's actually not being effective as well, right? So you can get people that can somehow like maybe less hunger and maybe they're driven. And I've got friends like that. They seem from an outsider's point of view, they look kind of lazy. But for some reason, they've just expedited the whole process simply by only focusing on, say, money, just for things that will actually get them the kind of tangible results.
Then it's focus, right? So you've got 2 parts to it. One, I've seen it go the other way, where you've got basically B players that get full gnarly public pop. The majority of the time when that happens is they've got someone smart in the back end that's pulling the strings that they go and execute on behalf of, not proactively driven for themselves.
Yeah, true, definitely. It's always more than meets the eye. Yeah.
The majority of the time,
yeah.
Especially if you're from the Lucky Sperm Club, you got smart people around you.
Oh, totally. And funding.
Totally.
Yeah. Funding that can kind of weather any storm for the next kind of half a decade and then get to the end of it and you're like, fuck, this makes no money. I'll just go do something else, go work for dad. Yeah, which I'm actually kind of glad. And also it's obviously worked in favor for you as well, as you had a pretty tough upbringing. I'm one of 6 kids as well, grew up in a vineyard. I was the same. We only our holidays were playing with our brothers, playing. We had there's 5 of us.
I get it.
And that was kind of it. And I think at the same time that was it sucks, and probably like you as well, sucks in the moment. But kind of looking back retrospectively, it's actually such a blessing, right? Yeah,
totally.
Those types of circumstances.
100%. But I'm even tripling down on that fact because I know that now anyone who knows me and my stories knows where I've come from.
Yeah.
Like they know, in a winter, I rented a bathroom in someone else's house. I chucked my shit in the bathtub, put a foam mattress down with no heating on. That's where I slept.
Yeah.
$40 a week.
Yeah.
And now when I'm flying around and doing all this cool dope shit, whatever, everyone knows that no one handed me shit. every single person, like, it's not Robett the flipping trust fund, baby. They flipping know. Like,
for
my
sure.
company's, I don't know, Avengers, like, my flipping...
Definitely. And even if they don't know, who gives a fuck? You know. And that's most important.
It's ammo for me, because I know that if I'm sitting across the table from you and you're Lucky Sperm Club and I know me, I know I flipping got you.
Yeah,
I've already beaten you.
Absolutely, man. Psychological
100%.
warfare. Yeah, you'll dig deeper. Yeah,
100%. And I already know it. You know I know it. And I it's just like maybe that's the back to the sport thing. Maybe that's that driver sport thing too. Because for me, it's all flipping competition.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, and it's I know it's twisted, but it'd be to the point where this is how my brain works. It's stupid and it's kind of pathetic, but this is how my brain works. So I had a broken iPhone 7 for the last 2 years with a cracked screen. I chose not to upgrade. I chose not to fix the screen. I chose not to do that. Why? It's because it sounds really dumb, but when we'd sit down in meetings, I'd put my broken iPhone 7 down, I'd look across and be like, oh, you got the 8 or the 9 or the flipping 10 or the this or that, whatever. And I'd be like, I got to 1.7 million people on social for free using this thing in my brain. You've got a better phone than me. What's your excuse? Twisted, right? But it's
makes
like
a lot of sense, man.
flipping. It's just a different mentality, and that's why I say, like, elite sport,
Yeah.
ex-military,
Yeah.
and gnarly executives. There's a flipping strand of something,
Absolutely.
and it's obviously probably it's helped them probably get to a certain point,
Yeah.
but at the same time, shit, it definitely can work against you as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. And do you
That's-
think a lot of visualization plays a part in that? And do you do that yourself?
100%.
Yeah.
I don't. I can visualize chess moves in my head with what I feel will happen, and then when they visually then do, that's when I can see it manifest. But it's not like I write down like quarter 1 I'm doing X Y Z, quarter 2 it's like stuff that noise.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm more like output,
Yeah.
execution. These things will happen. Boom, 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 boom across
Yeah.
these different verticals. Go.
Yeah. So what's some advice for some budding entrepreneur or someone that's even deep in it to just sharpen their focus and actually get what they want?
Forced alone time.
So elaborate on that.
Forcing yourself to be away from people
Yeah.
on a scheduled, consistent, routine basis.
So almost thinking time, just for
100%,
yourself.
but forced by yourself. So I would always do, my old apartment was in Herne Bay, and it would overlook the bridge. And so every Sunday afternoon, I would sit there and I'd have a nice bottle of heavy Pinot Noir, I'd have my moleskin, headphones on, sit there, feet up, and it was a full thing. And I'd just sit there, sit.
Yeah.
And then idea comes up, write down the moleskin,
Yeah.
come back down, just
Yeah. So how long you been doing that for?
years.
Yeah. Wow.
I've got like flipping 25 moleskins full of
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
I've
Definitely.
I've transitioned to digital now, so I've currently got a list of 220 different venture ideas that are sitting in an Airtable spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Like, it just, you have to get it out of you need but you need a process for the crazy,
Yeah.
and that's the difference of
Yeah.
my buddy Andrew, when he interviewed me for this other thing, he was like, oh, you're kind of like a hurricane because I'm just flipping carnage, but I saw it as hurricane's nuts on the outside, it's calm as shit in the middle, and if I'm playing chess long game, that's exactly what it is. Like,
Totally.
externally, you'll see the flipping psycho me, just stuff that don't give a shit, going hearts, blah. You'll see chaos,
Yeah.
but then you don't get depth like this. Like,
Yeah.
all right, this is exactly how boom, boom, boom.
For sure.
And that perception thing, once again, plays to your advantage for a lot of it, but then simultaneously can stuff you up and be a liability in other situations.
Absolutely. That's awesome, man, about the whole thinking time as well. I personally do that as well.
100%.
I try to do it once a week. To be honest, it's been, especially in stressful times, it starts to get pushed out, which I'm actually a bit annoyed about myself for. But
You meditate?
I meditate. So I do the Wim Hof breathing every morning, and I also incorporate the visualization and the meditation into that.
Cold water shit, you mess with that?
Yep, yeah, I've been doing that for years, man. Probably about 5-6 years.
Shit, okay.
Yeah, so it's amazing. And then and also the float tanks as well. The
Yeah,
sensory
that stuffed
deprivation.
me up, man. I tried my first one last month.
Oh yeah,
I was not a fan.
How
It freaked
so?
me out.
Really?
Yep.
That's one of How so? Like, tell me more about it.
My brain just kept going gnarly, and I had no escape.
Interesting.
Opposed to when I have forced alone time, and my brain goes gnarly, I get the idea and I document it down, and then it's
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
If I don't process the thinking,
Yeah.
it just builds up, and my brain gets stuffed.
Why don't you somehow get some type of like waterproof recording apparatus in there, and that way you can kind
Then
of.
it's kind of going. It's like then you bring it. Then you're messing with their whole shit.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, like, one of the things that frustrates me is if I'm at the gym and stuff, usually I'll go like, cold water shit and spa or whatever. Then if I have an idea, I've got no fucking flipping write it on, and I have to like dart out, open up the locker, get my phone, oh shit, put it back down, then I go back in and it's all stuff my flow up. So
definitely.
Because if I don't document, my process is if I don't document it, my brain blows up.
Yeah, never trust your memory. No. I'm the same. And then even some stuff, you write 6 months ago and you actually don't realize how profound it was until you actually revisit it as well. What's the biggest mistake you think people make when they go into business?
They don't pre-mortem.
Yeah, elaborate.
So, chess.
Yeah. Back
to chess. If I know I'm playing you and you're really strong at Queen's Gambit opening, whatever it is, I can already predict where you're probably going to play strong, where you'll play weak, and then I will work back from how I think I'll attack where that weakness is, right? So if you transition that into business, a pre-mortem is like, instead of it dying at the end and you saying, we ran out of funding, or the staffing was shit, or the distributors screwed us, or the flipping licensing thing stuffed us, or flipping virus bullshit, flagged our customs shit, whatever it is. You're being reactive at the end of the game. It's like, that's why I lost. I think right at the front, what's all the shit that can kill me, and how do I mitigate those? And I've already thought, and so when these things happen, you're then not surprised. It's actually been planned.
You anticipate.
It's actually really similar to, the Joker has a thing about this in The Dark Knight. He says, if I tell people that, I'm going to kill people, no one freaks out, because it's part of the plan. And it's really weird because in business it's the same thing. So I pre-mortem everything. So I think, okay, and I've watched it play out. Like there's been a couple of times in the last few years where my energy predictions about this person's ego or that bullshit commercially or whatever, and I'm like, I think in about 5 months, that's going to
happen,
stuff itself. And we've got one plan out at the moment that's basically like going exactly to the flipping money of what we predicted. So pre-morteming is, I think, and that's when you bring the pessimists, haters in. Up front, boom, 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 boom. And then if you plan for all these things and then you front foot it, you've taken away the ammunition. It's like Eminem at the end of 8 Mile, Destroys himself first, the other person can't say shit. So they got
nothing.
They don't have shit.
Yeah, definitely. And do you this pre-mortem, do you do all that future foresight thinking and stuff from your thinking time, your planning, you feel? Yeah, you got it.
And then with others as well.
Yeah, and also experience, and then your mentors and people around you, and things like that.
And I've been extremely lucky with my circle now. Stupid. Like it's flipping stupid.
Yeah. Well, you created that luck, right?
Yes, but I think I earned it going from charity to care.
Meaning?
Right? Like the ex-CEO of a telco is one of my homies, right? He's my homie now, but it started as charity to have this coffee with this little 2-bit nobody.
I see what you're saying.
Young buck, flipping, who gives a shit guy, right?
Yeah.
But what's happened over the years is they buy into the energy to start with out of charity of like, here's this dumb kid trying some cool shit.
Yeah.
Then it goes to, he's still hitting and he's listening and it's working, to he's consistently listening and it's working and it's flipping, he's not stopping. Holy shit, he's actually doing what we wish we could do if we weren't part of this machine. So it flips. It sounds really bad, but I feel a lot of my Rolodex only mess with me to start with. Potentially add a little bit of charity for some of it.
As they do, and we do that.
Yeah. And now it's straight care. So I'm extremely fortunate with my circle now. And publicly, it's weird because I've put some things out, and there's been 2 pieces of content which it was good to put out, but I really kind of didn't want to in some ways because I knew that it would visually show who was in my circle, because I love no one knowing who I'm homies with. I know it's kind of twisted, but I don't want to feel that I'm leveraging them publicly if you've got a profile, because then it changes the dynamics, and I don't want that. So I almost want to ninja shit it where I'm extremely publicly visible at me, and I'm totally comfortable with that, but I don't want a flipping single person knowing who I'm talking to about what and what level of relationships I've got. And that's part of the chess thing too, because the last thing you want to do is have the perception externally that you're exploiting your personal internal relationships.
Totally, definitely. So what's your favorite or your worst business mistake where you just didn't expect it?
I mean, everyone's like, I've had so many.
Yeah.
I have had so many.
Yeah, what's the most significant, the one that really kind of pivoted everything?
Yeah.
Because everyone's got a couple,
so
right?
I've got one that's it's up there. It's pretty kooky, but it's up there.
Yeah.
So I got into commercial real estate, building out these co-working space businesses for tech startups, right? We built out New Zealand's largest network, 10 different locations, 15,000 square meters, ended up taking the old NZME Herald building at 46 Albert Street. Massive. Cool, boom, whatever. As we were rolling it out, I just couldn't lose. I'm like, do another one, dope, roll up. I'm not a flippin' licensed real estate broker, don't know shit. I don't know what CapEx, OpEx was until we had like 4 floors on Queen Street. I'm a flipper. I'm just like, yep, boom, go. So this thing grows out, right?
Yeah.
And then there's this location, and my gut said, oh, bro, like, my gut said nothing because, of course, everything I touched was just winning. And then the data, I looked at the data. The most searched thing under this thing is going to this location. Basically, I predicted where this location would be. It was going to pop, life was going to be great. Boom, roll up, flipping under 80 grand fit out of some shit. Boom, do this whole thing. And we have a long-term lease, all the rest of it. And then we launch. Crickets. 0. Phone doesn't ring. Longer lease sort of in place. Done a full fit out. Custom made all this shit. Nothing. And it gets, I'm like, oh no, we got some, rent free. It'll be sweet to start off with. Yeah, stuff it. Like just blind, right?
Yeah.
Data says it's good. I only win. Stuff it.
Yeah.
And then just got pummeled.
Damn.
Like,
how old were you?
I don't know. It's only 4 or 5 years ago, something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not that long ago, right? Because I'm having wins, right? And so
totally.
one of my businesses I'm crushing, and media shit's going dirt in front of me, and then this other one I'm like, fuck. And then there was a day, then I had to basically negotiate out of this lease which I'd signed and thing, and we'd kill all the stuff, and we lost so much money. And then I remember we had to write a check to exit out of the lease, drop it off at the lawyers, and I'm sitting there and I'm just signing this check like, fuck, like just, it was so real and painful and shit.
Totally.
And then I had to take the trailer and get all the stuff out of it, and it just it was just this horrible. And I remember then so it all got cleared up, signed the check, got for them, punched in the dick, stuff. Yeah. Finally get over, sign the check, drop all the shit off, and then the trailer, when you take the trailer back, you get your $20 return on the flipping chain or whatever. And so I'm sitting there holding this $20, sweating full of shit, jib board everywhere, and it's like 11:30 at night on a Wednesday after I've exited out, and I'm just like, fuck, of that. And
so did you lose it all at that point?
Bro, done. Done and more. Done.
Damn.
Like, stuff.
It sucks, but it's important, right? I reckon those lessons are important.
So you know how twisted I am? I got my mate that was doing it with me. I was like, bro, can you just take a photo of me right now? This is me just eating shit. So take a photo of me signing the check, and I'm holding this flipping check, just getting steamrolled. And then I'm holding this $20 at the BP or some shit where I've hired the trailer from, and I was like, this is what I've got to show for it. Like all this shit, I'm just in like a flipping muppet.
Yeah, but you got the experience. And I think that's the value, right?
As it twisted, and I was smiling about
it. Yeah. How'd you bounce back from that?
Then I
just got up.
No, I think my lesson was I went into it so blind that because I trusted the data. Yeah. And I was like, data said it's good. Can't lose. Yeah. I'm the man. Yeah. Shit's mean. Yeah. It's gonna work.
Yeah. Everything else I'm touching has a Midas touch, turned to gold.
Got pummeled.
Yeah. That's where success can be dangerous, right? Dude. I did the exact same thing, bro, with LA and Melbourne.
Because you expanded and got pumped.
Literally like boosh. Turn up. You got queues around the corner, this and that. And then the reality catches up 6 months later. Sorry, not 6 months later, 12 months later, 18 months later. And then you just don't. In my case, we just didn't study the data. It was mainly the financial and the financial governance behind it. But fuck, it hurt, it sucked, but it was also the most important lesson.
And when you're logistically far away too, that shit eats on you.
It eats on you. It's far harder to actually react as well.
Bro,
and it's fucking expensive, you know?
And the thing as well, what stuffs it with that, I can imagine it's the time zone plus the logistics, and because you visibly can't see it,
Yeah.
that's what stuffs you.
Yeah, definitely.
Because when you physically can't, and so that's why when I like kind of exited all my shit, I wanted nothing on anything, so I don't need to touch it, see it, and and so I've just I went down to this like one phone, one bag thing, and I was like, I want my entire life in one bag that can create anything and run anything, and I want one phone with my flipping wallet in it that can do whatever, and that's it. So I'll roll into meetings, just t-shirt and that, I'm flipping good.
Yeah, nice.
And I've tried to just change the way I think about it.
Oh, definitely, man. Are you all good? Like, you got looks like some important people wanting your attention.
Am I good? Am I in trouble? I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, there's just a few other people over
Oh,
there.
sweet. Am I in trouble?
All good. How are we for timings? Deb?
50 minutes.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
You good, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who rolled up? Some other crew? Am I good? Oh, sweet. I'm good.
Cool. Yeah, cool, man. So personal development. So obviously you take care of yourself and things like that.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, you don't?
Oh,
Yeah. What about all the
I
cold
just like
showers
burgers.
Yeah, you like burgers? Yeah. So you take care of your cravings. But in terms of that though, do you think it is, so like, do you read up on, I'm just looking at your book, your big stack of books.
Yeah.
And less far for show, that to me tells me that you are into personal development in some capacity.
I am.
Yeah.
Well, because I think about stuff.
Yeah. So you're acquiring information from other people and reading other books and things like that, or?
Yeah, I'm very curious.
Yeah.
I always like to ask questions, but at the same time, I have a filter where I feel I have an opinion about something. Mm-hmm. I'll look and listen, and then my gut will go with whatever. But yeah, exactly. So I've kind of worked my way through a bunch of it. So whether it's money or relationships or health or thinking or whatever it is, I definitely.
Yeah, and they all intertwine, right? It's like what you were saying earlier in the conversation with the athletes. The athlete, no matter how good his mindset is and how much he believes in himself, there's only so much that can take him if he hasn't taken care of the diet, the fitness, doing the correct training and this and that. Yeah. And then, so do you, like, I think what I find as well is you just get a lot of, I just want to kind of relate this back to kind of young people as well, because obviously that's a real passion of yours as well. What advice would you give to people that are just like, just riddled with anxiety because they're worried about money, and they probably look at people like yourself and are like, fuck, I'm not there yet, I'm 30 years old or whatever, and I'm wasting time and I'm not there yet, and then they just end up making dumb decisions because they want to get, they just want to skip the process, the necessary process, which is eating shit, chewing glass, and looking into the abyss. What advice would you give to those people that are impatient and worried and...
Yeah, so there's a difference between impatience and worry. Like, worry around your current situation is real. Mm-hmm. I've been there. There's always going to be a trigger pull of certain things, right? Whether it's your personal stuff, with your relationship, with your wife, or your kids, your friends, your business, your partners. There's always some shit, right? Yeah. So I don't think that ever goes away, but I think there's definitely different types of the stresses. And then so the first one would be like, I would acknowledge and embrace all that personal shit, 100%. You need to. I think you do. For the business career path is a little bit different, because what happens there is your career path is almost like your external output in the world of what you're doing, where, for who. Mm-hmm. The first thing is with how you deal with your internal struggles or stresses or whatever. So I think there's two battles. Mm-hmm. There's like an internal battle with you versus yourself to have the balance right with emotional, spiritual, physical, mental, all that other shit. Mm-hmm. And then I think there's an external output of like what you're doing in the real world that translates to currency or to career. Mm-hmm. And I haven't actually thought it like that before, but that it's just kind of a new thing that I was just thinking about then. And I think it's got legs, because when you go external and they're not happy internal, they try to cheat. Mm-hmm. What's the course for the course, get me to the top, 12-step masterclass bullshit, whatever, right? There's the cheap path, or there's the actual journey of the struggle of the ride. Mm-hmm. So I think first would be maybe separating off the internal versus external, dealing and confronting the internal to be aware of where the balances are, and then external, not trying to snake and ladder, jump up to where you know you're not at.
Definitely.
Because there is no hook. There is no hook to get to that. Now, you can totally ninja move some shit to jump up, but there's no cheat up. You don't cheat your way up through courses. You hustle your way up through strategy.
Totally. And doing...
Shit, that was a good one. You hustle way up through strategy.
For sure, definitely. And just, doing the time as well. And then just going through the motions as well. And I think there's nothing worse than getting success prematurely and that you haven't deserved as well, I believe.
Well, yeah, because what then happens is you get exposed to the market after they realize that you're not that smart.
Yeah, and
then you lose.
And the market will just, it beats you up. And you have to build that resilience over the years and develop that thick skin and garner the wisdom in order to learn how to deal with that stuff. And that's the same thing with those athletes and the bands and the musicians and stuff that do have those long careers, is because they know how to deal with that shit, which is fucking, it's part of it,
No, just literally going back to the hustle with strategy thing. Because I think too many people try to snakes and ladders, buy the cheat code to gas up flipping a bunch, instead of going, wait a second, how do I actually ninja move this shit to strategically get there?
For sure.
So maybe the insight would be, if you were to be an alien looking at your ecosystem, how could you ninja move the strategy piece first to actually genuinely jump up? Because I was in a meeting this morning and that happened. There was a brain that had gnarly strat that just stuffed shit up that I would never have seen coming. Like I literally was telling Mel about it before. I was like, dude, he pulled this ninja shit that was so next level smart that I was going 3 moves ahead, thinking I'm flipping, not trying to flop my dick out, but I'm like, dude, this is like, I've got some pretty good thinking going on. And he just comes in over the top, and he had just taken an alien approach at the problem, gone, and he walked out of it like flipping samurai master, mate. And it was probably one of the most impressive human business feats I think I've genuinely seen. Like it was just that, it was that good. So to loop it back around, I'd be thinking, what's the samurai shit with strategy, where you can genuinely win but doing things a different way? Like
definitely.
And I think not many people ask that question because they'll say operations to create efficiency, or tech integration to create scale or amplification, or any of this other bullshit. They genuinely don't be like, like I was thinking about, there was a gym company that they were talking about yesterday, and they're saying, they're making these moves, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, why don't they just buy a flipping pharmacy? Because all these people are into health and they own the pharmacy, they've got the distribution, like just a different, so totally, how do you take a different approach to growth?
Absolutely. That's what Peter Thiel talks about in his book, Power to One.
I haven't read that.
Oh man, you should read it, highly recommend. He makes you think, because he's a contrarian, he always says...
What's a what?
Contrarian.
What's that mean?
It's like people that always think the opposite. Yeah, it's exactly what you're talking about. It's probably that guy that made that power move was just that. And he talks about what people do in 10 years, why can't you do it, or what's a way to do it in 6 months? Like, it's like, it's a very different way of thinking. And then it's straight away, it's gonna, your brain's gonna begin to looking for solutions, and you actually start shortcutting everything, all the bullshit.
It's not cheating.
It's not cheating.
It's strategy. So in Silicon Valley, they call it blitz scaling. Now, blitz scaling. How do we blitz scale this shit? How do we go, to your point, 10 years worth of growth in 6 months?
Definitely.
Why not?
Absolutely. And then you will begin starting, you'll buy the gyms will start buying the pharmacies, and Nando's.
I mean, it was just an idea. I don't know if that ends up happening.
But I know where you're going with it. Bro, just to wrap it up, man, what's the best advice you would have told your 20-year-old self?
Partner smarter earlier.
Partner smarter earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Partner smarter earlier.
So what's a little story associated with that where you didn't...
I wish that I had an older brother that was an accountant who could beat me up physically, that could also be the bad cop in private.
So what, just someone to call bullshit?
No, someone that's blood that's in.
Yeah. Okay. Because you didn't have the father.
No, because I didn't have the business, I didn't have the money brain.
Yeah.
I was lucky that I've got a friend who's in that world now, but it's not blood.
Yeah.
Not that that's a thing or not, but like I think of it, the most lethal combo is when 1 + 1 = 3, if not 10.
For sure.
So if I had that, when I first came through, and if he was strategic, he can play to the strengths, samurai strategy, some ninja shit, and off day one, instead of making me go through the motion of flipping, living it and breathing it and eating shit and trial and failing, like I think my journey has been more fun, net, but it's been longer.
Yeah.
So then I think about, would I rather have got to the same point without doing the shit? I actually think it was good to go eat shit.
It is.
I think it was
definitely.
I think it's actually worked out better.
Yeah.
Net than de-risking it all the way to the point where, it's just not fun and it's just too easy. Because then if it's too easy, I think it's weakness, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I would have, but I would have partnered smarter earlier.
No, it's great advice, man. I think an awesome way to wrap it up. Any other final words? What about where people can find you, your book, your YouTube channel?
Yep. So stuff all the other shit. Free ebook if you're a young buck.
Yeah. What's the ebook called? Power Moves?
Power Moves, and it's just powermoves.co.nz. That's it.
And people download it.
Free for 800,000 school kids.
How long did that take you to write?
I pre-mortemed that situation, and I realized I couldn't actually write.
Yeah.
So I got an award-winning writer to sit with me every single day for hours at a time while I drank whiskey and told my story, and he did the whole entire thing.
So how many hours was that?
A very long time.
Yeah, nice,
Months.
man. Oh, bro, amazing, man.
But it was cool. And so, it'd be powermoves.co.nz, stuff everything else. And then I would like to give you props. You've come extremely prepared with a bunch of notes that are perfectly symmetrical. They've come in here, you know exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it. So props to you in this. And I hope this adds a little bit of value and a bit more depth to some of the thinking.
Oh, absolutely, bro. Appreciate your time, man. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and found any type of value, please subscribe to our podcast, share with your friends, and give us a 5-star review on iTunes to be in the draw to win a $200 I Love Ugly gift voucher. We will be drawing a winner monthly. Good luck, and see you on the next episode.